What's up YouTube, we're Bone here and welcome to my editing bench. These are files from my previous shoot, the one I did with the Fujifilm X-T30. I decided to go through the photos with you and select a few and work on them for you guys to see. First of all, I'm recording on my Asus gaming monitor, which is a widescreen, so it's not a normal monitor. Like the dimensions is not a normal dimension, it's a widescreen, so like I'm sure some of you would have black lines at the top and then down when you're watching it on your screen. So now, as I mentioned in the previous video, I used the Fujifilm X-T30 with the 35mm 1.4, which is, as I said, my favorite combo because I love the size of the camera and I love the performance. It's currently my main camera for all my shoots now. Like I use it for commercials, so I use it for portrait, fashion. So obviously we took a lot of photos on that day, but I've gone through and selected a few that like I think I really love and I would want to work on one or two for you guys to see how I go about it. I think I went through and this photo, and then I think this one, and then this one. So let me select them. By the way, I'm using Capture One. This is Capture One 20. For me as a Fujifilm photographer, like the best software to handle Fujifilm files is Capture One. And so that's what I use for my post-production. So these three photos, I really love them. I love the mood over here, and I also love the lines and the symmetry in these photos. So I think I'll just go straight to it for you guys to see how I do it. First of all, let me go to this photo. I think I would increase the exposure a little bit. Yeah, it's already like properly exposed. So, and so as I said, I don't really do a lot of things over here. Like it's usually the simple stuff like highlights, shadows, exposure. That's all I do here. In terms of colors and retouching, I do all of it in Photoshop. So let me export this to Photoshop. I'm using Photoshop CC 2018. So edit with, and you make sure it's in TIFF 16-bit, and then edit. Okay, so I think from the start, the first thing that I noticed about this photo is the way it's slanted. First of all, like I don't like photos that are slanted. Like I always want the symmetry to be perfect. So if it's slightly slanted, I'll try straighten it. So I go to the crop tool. I mostly crop my photos by 4:5, which is the Instagram crop. So I make sure that I crop it according to the Instagram crop, so that when I post it on Instagram, nothing would be cut off. So this is the 4:5 crop, and then you just move it to straighten it. One tip about straightening photos, like straightening your photos, is you usually should find a straight line in your photo, like a vertical, anything that's vertical in your photo, and you aligned your crop lines with it. So with this, I'm using the door. I'm aligning the straightness with the door, the lines in the door. So okay. So I think I like this, and so you click OK. So you notice that because I moved the crop to the end of the photos, like I'm trying to center the model in the middle of the shot. So like in order to center her, I would have to move it in a way that would go off the shot. So the easy fix or the quick fix to this type of problems is by using the rectangular tool. So you just select some parts of the photo, like which is a bit free, doesn't have anything over there in terms of like it's not affecting the subject. So with this part, it's just the door. So the quick fix is by stretching it. And because there's nothing in there that like the subject is not affecting the subject. So if you stretch it, it wouldn't really affect it in a way that would be it wouldn't affect it in a weird way. So you just click on it and then you just stretch. Yes. So you stretch it and then you enter it. Now another way of fixing it, some people can use what's the name, content aware to do it, but sometimes content aware doesn't really fill in properly. So with some of these things, as I said, if it's not really affecting the subject, you can get away with stretching that part of the photo. So from here, I just go to camera raw. This is where I do most of like my colors and like, you know, most of the look that I want for my photos. I do it mostly in camera raw. So what I like to do is that I like to increase colors of things in the environment. So with the blue top that she's wearing, I can increase the blues 50, and I think the aqua too is also a shade of blue. So, and I think this door is dark green. So basically, if you increase the greens and the yellow, it will give it a pop. And I usually don't touch my oranges because it affects the skin color, and I don't like my subject skin being orange. So sometimes, like if let's say the model is wearing an outfit which is red, or if there was a red thing in the environment, I would have increased it. But I mean, there's no red significant thing in here, so I think I'll just leave it. Okay, so the next thing is the eye of the model. But what I usually do is that most of the times, like our subjects, sometimes their eyes are red, and also sometimes when you are working with colors, they tend to affect like the eyes of the model or the teeth of the model. So I usually clean it up with a brush tool in camera raw, and so usually I take out the saturation and then increase the highlights and then increase the exposure. That's what I use to clean the eye, like in a simple way. I know people have so many ways of doing it, but this is my quick fix to like just cleaning red eye and yellow teeth due to like maybe increasing colors in your photos. I know like people don't really pay attention to some of these things, but I actually do. Like anytime I'm looking at a picture, I look at the eyes. If the eye is too red or too orange, like I usually don't like it. So now let's zoom into the model's face again. There's not a lot of retouching work that like this photo needs. It will just be normal healing brush and clone to kind of thing. And I'll do a bit of frequency separation just to smoothen out some little things. But generally, I think there's not a lot of retouching work that I would do in this photo. So let me zoom in to her face again. Now this line under her eye is something that I would want to take off. You can either use the part 2. So you select and then you drag it to a place that doesn't have that line. And do the same here. Yeah, so there's so many ways to do it. You can use healing brush, you can use a clone stamp, but I'm using the part 2. So I'll clean this line too. So the next thing is, I think I'll just jump straight to Retouching Academy, which I am not a retouching guru. This is just stuff that I do to my photos. There are like so many people who are really good at doing retouching, but this one is mine, like my way of doing things. So like I know people have different opinions and all of that, but you can check out Joey Dutch on YouTube and also Photoshop. They have like amazing retouching tutorials for you guys to learn. So anyway, so with Retouching Academy, what I do is that I go to frequency separation, I click on custom, and then with the high pass, usually I'm mostly at 3, and then with the Gaussian blur, I do like 2.5. So I always leave like a 5 interval. So like after you do that selection, it automatically gives you a folder with the high frequency and then the correcting tones. I work on the correcting tones, so you disable the high frequency layer and then you work on the correcting tones. So by working on the correcting tones, you can use mixer brush or the healing brush, but I think I would want to start with the healing brush and just clean up a few things on her face. Also, like there wasn't like a makeup artist on set or on location. As I said, this shoot was a casual shoot, so the model didn't really do any makeup, so this is all natural. What I'm doing is that I'm just using the healing brush to smoothen some blemishes on her face. So now I use the mixer brush. The mixer brush is also like, I love using it because it's really subtle. Another thing I want to do is that there's this texture and lines in her outfits or t-shirts that I think we can smoothen out, and the same mixer brush with frequency separation can sort of fix it, just like the way you're working on her skin. Okay, so I'm done with the frequency separation. Just a really like subtle retouch on the model's skin. As I said, there's not a lot of retouching to do here. So let me show you the before and after. This is the before and then after. And with the wrinkles in her outfits, I was able to take some out. So this is the before and then after. Yeah. So after this, then the next thing is dodge and bend. And the same thing, if you click, I use the DMB curve setup. So once you click it, it will automatically give you the folders. So it gives you the visual aids. That is, it's automatically turned the. It gives you a layer that will turn the photo into black and white, because doing dodge and bend in black and white is better because it's all about light and darkness. So when the photo is in black and white, it's much easier, or it's much easier for you to see and do a really good dodge and bend. And with my dodge and bend, I like to do it really subtle, not like extreme. So it's basically like brighten where it's bright and darken where it's dark. And so you go onto the dodge and bend layer and then you click on the curve. The dodge curve is the light part, or where there's light. So I usually brush along the light parts in the photos, and with that one you have to use the brush too. And with me, I reduce my opacity to 9%. And then the flow is 100%. So as I said, I lighten where there's light and I darken where there's dark. So with this, I'm giving more light to the place that has light in the photos. So the drapery in her outfit, there's some light on her hand, the light on her thighs. I just brighten those parts like subtly, not extreme. That's why I've reduced my opacity to 9%. So on her hand, let me go to her face a bit. So just the way the light is falling on her face is the same way I'll do the dodge and bend. Sometimes too, you can do some dodge and bend on the things around the subject. Because obviously the light hitting her is the same light hitting the environment. So you can also do dodge and bend of some things in the shot. And then after that, I come to the bend, which is the dark or the shadows part. So the same way, like the draperies in her t-shirt has the light and darkness. So I've done the light parts, I'm doing the dark parts. This gives more punch or dimension to the light in the overall photo. Because obviously where there's light, there's darkness. So once you've done the light part, you have to do the darkness part, and it just gives more punch to the shadows. And as I said, you can do some in the environment. So after you're done, then you can delete the visual aid, which is the black and white. Now, let me show you the before and after. This is after, this is before. So you see, it's just a subtle punch that you give to the photo, not like really extreme. There are some photos or like conditions that you need extreme dodge and bend, but most of the times you have to let it be subtle on your subject. Anyway, so after I'm done, then I merge this into one layer. I'm pretty much done, but the final place that I take the photo is alien skin exposure. This is like a plugin that like has a number of filters and mood and looks. So usually that's where I do my final look. So this is basically like a plugin which has all these like film presets, film look. And so the best thing is for you to go in there and go through the looks and select the ones that you love. It's a creative choice, and somebody may be okay with this look, which is fine. I just want to like experiment and see which other looks I can give this photo. And so usually like I like to choose from the vintage and also the cinema, which has like all these filters. So you just go through and then you select the one that works for you. Ooh, I think I like this. I think I like this. Let me see. This is the before and this is after. Ooh, I love this. I like the fact that it doesn't change the color of her top. It just gives it more mood. And I think it's a bit too dark. So what you can do after you select the filter is that you can, you know, just work on it. You can edit it to suit what you like. So I think I would want to fill in a bit. And I think there's grains on it. So I like to take off the grain, which is here. So just put it 0 and also just give it a bit of a clarity. So let me give it 10 just to make it more sharper and also give it more focus. Like that's a way of sharpening in exposure. So just give it like 5 and see. So this is the before and this is the after. It's all a creative choice. I mean, some may like the before, some may like the after, but it's all a creative choice as a creative person. But I think this gives like a really nice mood to it. So this is the before and this is the after. So after that, then I just merge it and then I save it. Now let me go back to capture one and show you the after. So this is the after, this is the before, this is the after. So this is all what I usually do with my photos. I just experiment because this is a personal shoot, so I have the liberty to experiment the looks I like and the looks I don't like. So Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.